And just to set up the scene, I'm not going to talk about how AI can create a model. I'm going to talk about how AI can create a notebook, a Jupyter notebook. So I am Eric. I am an open source software developer. I have been involved in many open source communities, Apache, Jupyter, and I am the founder of a company called Datalayer, which adds feature to Jupyter. So we add GPU, we add AI, and we add also rich editing to Jupyter. And we have well-known customer. So today, so obviously I'm not a geospatial analyst. So today I'm gonna go through still across the challenges you may face when you do geospatial analysis. I'm going to go over how AI agent and model context protocol MCP can help those challenges, and I'm gonna also do a demo. So what is specific about geospatial analysis? Well, the first thing maybe is finding the right data. So data is a bit like scattered everywhere, and it's not easy to find a way to get that. And then you need to load the data. So it means that you need to understand the format. And you also need to be able to, once you load the data, to do something very valuable with that. So you need to know the Python libraries. You need to be able to plot that, to plot your data frame, to plot the map, and so on. So sometimes it's not that easy. So question, how can we help, or how can AI help that? And specifically, how can an AI agent help those issues? So maybe stepping back a bit before AI, and maybe you've done that. You've launched a Google search, which drove you to Stack Overflow. And then you have like maybe copy-paste the code you've seen on Stack Overflow, tweaked the code, and tried to make it work. So it worked out, and then came ChatGPT. And then you've said, okay, I'm going to ask ChatGPT the same question, and you have like a one-stop shop to give you that gives you the answer. Still, it's copy-paste. You need to copy from ChatGPT and go to your Jupyter notebook to run the code. And what I'm going to show you is like a bit a new way, and there is like a name for that, which is vibe engineering. If you look for that, yeah, okay. I even seen like recently like some vibe engineer job title, so it's quite funny. And this is the vibe way is to ask the AI, and the AI is going to generate for you directly in the correct tool your code and run it. So I'm going to show you a bit like what an LLM typically do without a tool. So an LLM cannot go to the outside world. It's like it has been trained on a very specific data set, a lot of data. But if you ask a question who needs to go to your mailbox, to your Gmail, to just like summarize my current email, the LLM cannot do that. So to achieve that, you're going to add tools to the LLM. Maybe a tool is going to help you to search the web, but also is going to help you to go to S3 buckets to read some data. And a tool can also go to NASA, Earthdata API, for example. And from that interaction, the tool is going to generate observation, it's going to feed back to the LLM, it's going to loop until the LLM is happy and it's going to give you the output. So this is a bit the idea behind the AI agent. And you have different ways to use those AI agents. You have the closed way, you can go to a SaaS. Maybe it's not going to help you with Jupyter. So you're going to maybe implement yourself with a framework, but you need to do a lot of software development. And there is a new way, which is called MCP, Model Context Protocol, which is a kind of middle ground between those two options. So you're going to add MCP server to your LLM. So what this picture shows is a bit the analogy with a USB extender. So let's say the laptop is your MCP client, and maybe not all of you know what Cloud is. Cloud is a client for Anthropic LLM. I will show you that. But VS Code, Visual Studio Code, works also as MCP client. And this is a bit the laptop. And when you want to add more USB device, you're going to plug them into the extender. So the MCP server is a bit the same analogy. So you're going to plug any MCP server you need to do the job you target. So with this analogy, we've developed like 3 MCP servers, and they are open source. You can go to the GitHub Datalayer organization, and the first one is a generic one, the Jupyter MCP server, which allows you to interact with the Jupyter notebook to add cell, run cell, and so on. There is a second one which interacts with the Earthdata API to retrieve data. And there is a third one which is like a combination of the first two for very specific Earth actions linked to Jupyter. So what I'm going to show you is the Cloud desktop configured to use those 3 MCP servers. And we're going to see that, well, first we're going to see the interaction, and it's a bit also a dance. You start here from the Cloud desktop below left. And you're going to ask a question. But before that, Cloud desktop has asked a question, give me the tools you have. So your prompt is going to be appended to the list of tools and sent to the Cloud LLM. Cloud is the LLM from Anthropic, a bit like OpenAI. And LLM is going to say, okay, I understand your prompt, but please use a tool. In this case, insert a cell. So, okay, MCP client is going to say, insert a cell. MCP server is going to go to the server, insert the cell, get the response. And as a user, I will get my final answer. Right, this is not a live demo. I will do that just after, but this is an example of a question you can ask to the LLM. So plot sea surface temperature for over the last 2 years. And what you see on the left is a Cloud desktop. What you see on the right is the result generated by the LLM. So let's move on to the demo. But I think before I'm going to cut my Wi-Fi and put it again, because I don't know, I'm losing connection at some point after some time, so to be sure. Okay, I'm connected again. So what you're going to see is a local Jupyter Lab, but it works for any Jupyter Lab. It can be Jupyter Lab in the cloud, on Jupyter Hub, or wherever you want. So on the left, I'm going to launch my lab. Okay, and I have a notebook which is empty. And on the right, I'm going to launch my Cloud desktop, and it's a special thing because I am on Linux. So here we go. We do have Cloud desktop. First, I'm going to show you the MCP server, which are independent of Jupyter. And maybe I'm going to first check the tools I have at disposal. So as I said, Cloud has been configured to launch the MCP server. He has asked to the server, give me the list of tools, and these are the tools, add, execute, search, Earthdata, and so on. So the first prompt I'm going to do, and I'm going to be like helpful, there is a feature which allows you to pre-configure prompts. So in this case, I can just ask, give me like the sea level. Yeah, and I didn't say that. The goal of this demo is to analyze the sea level rise since some years. So in this case, I'm going to say, give me the data set that can be used. And this is a pre-filled prompt. And I am interested in data set about sea level rise worldwide from 2000 to 2024. Can you list relevant data sets? So this is what I am asking to the LLM. Well, in this case, there is no interaction with Jupyter, but there is interaction with Earthdata API. It says, I have an error. Yeah, something typical also. LLM is not predictable, so there is some kind of randomness. So at some point, it works. At some point, well, typically it always works, for sure. Here, I feel like the first attempt has failed, but now kind of recover, which is quite interesting, because there is like a loop, as I said. The result of the tool has been fed back to the LLM. He has seen an error, and he has carry on. And he said, okay, these are some data set. And again, I am not a geospatial at all skilled engineer. So I would let you go across those lists and see if it makes sense. What I'm going to ask now is based on those first data set. I can ask the data set format. So what are the data formats of those data set? He already says that in the previous prompt, but yeah, I'm going to ask it again. Okay. So it looks like the Earthdata connection is giving us some good result. So now I'm going to move to the Jupyter questions. Yeah, what's that? So on the left, there is cloud, and on the right, I'm going to try to put here let's do like this. And before I'm going to move, I'm going to delete the sea-level data, because the question is going to be, please download some data from Earthdata API and do the analysis. So I already did that this morning, but now I'm going to just delete this file, so there is no files anymore. And I'm going to ask a question. So here we go. And the question is, I want you to download and do a short analysis of the global mean sea level trend dataset in my notebook using the tools at your disposal for interacting with the notebook, and the tool download Earthdata Granule for downloading the data. So the prompt can be a bit more generic. Here we want it to be safe and just to be very explicit on what we want it to do. So you will see on the left, and when you use a tool, it's going to ask for authorization, and I'm going to hide this. And now what you see, okay, allow always, okay. What you see is like a dialogue or with himself on the left, but there is also actions taken on the right. So the left discuss with the right, which can be on the cloud. Here it's on my laptop, but again. And the first action is Earth access and Matt, yeah. It looks like it works. Always allow. And so all that code has been generated by the LLM, and I can show you also, this is like the new sea level data here. So effectively, we do have some data. And some code over there trying to read the data. And you can follow the logic behind. Right, let's continue. It's going to take some time, well, a few minutes. And the funny thing is that sometimes you have a very, very detailed notebook. Sometimes it's a bit shorter, but it generally really completes with the same result. So you're going to see the curve of sea level rise, and sometimes it goes even further, sometimes it goes to the economic impact, and so on. So it's very, very special. So global mean sea rise level, here we go. Key findings, so in this case, yeah, I think it's been a short, which is not bad. It's generated this curve, and typically, I will let you read. And again, maybe you're gonna say it's not true at all. I don't know. It's just a basis, right? And basis, I guess, a lot of code, if I had to write it down, I would be like, okay, I don't know if you can read, but I can add this like this. So here we go, comparison across different periods, summary, and so on. Yeah, so maybe I'm gonna show again the one I did this morning with the impact on the economy. It looks similar. Yeah, you have historical and so on and so forth. Don't find directly, oh yeah, annual economic impact. So yeah, to be challenged, to be confirmed, to be with experts, but just to showcase what AI can do. I think I am done. If you want to see the demo again, there is a link, dlr.io CNG. And in summary, I wanted to show you how you can move from copy-pasting to get the boilerplate ready. AI agent and MCP can do that. If you want to try, this is open source. A bit of setup to do, but yeah, it's available. And I really want to thank you and wish you happy vibes coding.
Thank you so much, Eric. Do we have questions? Yes?
Oh, thank you very much for your talk. It was super interesting. I just wanted to know the specific MCP servers you're using. Are they available at the MCP server official GitHub page, or were they locally developed?
Well, I'm not aware of any official Jupyter GitHub for MCP, but there is like a kind of, well, do you know? Is there an official?
Well, I know that there's an official GitHub page where they have a bunch of MCP servers that you can use.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, there is like typically on GitHub you have some awesome stuff, right? Awesome Jupyter, awesome MCP. I think we are registered. Those 3 MCP servers are registered. Well, at least one is registered in those awesome repository. And there is also another trend like similar to PyPy, which is like a registry of Python packages. There is like people creating registries of MCP server, and we are those servers are registered in some of them, maybe not in everywhere, but yeah, it's available. But anyway, I think if you want to use that, you just go to your organization, and you have the steps to apply this. There are Docker images, okay. So underneath there is like a Docker, and should be possible. And if you have questions, just reach out.
Okay, sure, will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have, yes?
First of all, thank you. That was really interesting. I wondered if it's possible to integrate this workflow into the Jupyter AI extension instead of having to have Claude Desktop.
Okay, that's a well, Jupyter AI is scattered, I would say, between different projects, right? There is Jupyter AI, there is NB Intelligence, there is like a few other ones. We do have Jupyter AI agent, which is yet another stuff. I'm going to say why not, but I'm going to say also why. So, I understand the question, but I think the technology we're using is not really completely aligned with the Jupyter AI existing repository. That's what I can say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for such an interesting talk. And I was wondering whether it's possible to somehow combine it with a Jupyter we saw before you. That's first question. And second question, maybe a little silly, but can you like go into like previous lines, like tell AI to kind of go to line this and correct something? How does it like work?
Yeah, so the first question is, can we integrate or can we collaborate with Jupyter GIS?
Yeah, I was really
I
impressed
think
with boss.
I will have a drink with Matt for sure. We already discussed, not at this conference, but a few months ago. And this is like more, I think there is quite some value to do that, for sure, because you can say, okay, you can ask, and then now you please create a map, right? And because if you have questions for the AI, I can ask them also, because it's like iterative. You can go and ask more questions. And then the next one was?
So like, how do you just tell this like AI to go like line this and correct something or change something?
Yeah, you can ask more. Yeah, you can say, yes, please, I see you use like, you plot for the last 5 years, but plot for the last 10 years. I see you made a mistake when you loaded that data from. So it's really like quite impressive.
Okay, more questions? All right. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you so much.